Cool.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the San Francisco Public Library. I'm John Smalley, a librarian with the General Collections. Thanks for all of you coming to this month's Poem Jam, which celebrates the legendary poet, educator, Beat Generation luminary, and former San Francisco Poet Laureate, Diane di Prima. While we're waiting for some more people to join us, I want to take a moment to acknowledge our community and to tell you about a few of our upcoming programs. And one moment. On behalf of the Public Library, we want to welcome you to the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. As the indigenous stewards of this land, in accordance with their traditions, the Ramaytush Ohlone have never ceded, lost, nor forgotten their responsibilities as the caretakers of this place. As guests, we who reside in their traditional territory recognize that we benefit from living and working on their traditional homeland. We wish to pay our respects by acknowledging the ancestors, elders, and relatives of the Ramaytush community, and by affirming their sovereign rights as First Peoples. This Sunday, December 12th, please come to the library's free screening of Red Poet, a film about Jack Hirschman, the renowned poet, translator, activist, and former Poet Laureate of San Francisco. The screening will take place in the main library's Correct Auditorium. On Monday, a panel discussion of authors, including Dodie Bellamy and Eileen Miles, will be discussing the legacy of Bellamy's pioneering, influential, and experimental letters, Amina Harka, as well as Bellamy's new memoir, Bereaved. Lastly, on Friday, December 17th, author Deborah Miranda discusses her book, Bad Indians, a Tribal Memoir. Miranda's beautiful and devastating book has been described as part tribal history, part lyric, and part intimate memoir. On Monday, December 20th, the library's On the Same Page book club will be discussing the same book. So this ends my announcements of upcoming programs. I'd like to turn the microphone over now to our Poem Jam host, Kim Shuck. Please welcome Kim Shuck.
Hey people, how's it going? We're having kind of an exciting time here. I'm delighted to be hosting an event in celebration of Diane di Prima. I had started a project a while back where I was hoping to get women to recommend one person who had been fundamental in their writing poetry and one person that they feel like is an upcoming inspiration to people in the future. And in the cohort just slightly younger than me, pretty much everybody mentioned Diane. So, you know, she's still with us in a lot of ways, inspiring people to do incredible work. I want to also apologize. I'm going to sound a little fuzzy tonight. The computer gremlins got me, and so here I am on my kitchen table, which I think Diane would have actually liked better than my desk. So there we are. I'm going to get right into it because we've got a lot of incredible readers, and I'm just really grateful to the people who have come to do this and to celebrate Diane with us. So I'm first going to introduce Bill Vartnaw, who is not only the Laureate Emerita from
Sonoma.
Wow, thank you, Sonoma. I'm like north of Marin. Oh, I am getting older. From Sonoma County, but also somebody I've known since I was about 8 years old. A really good friend and just a gent. Please welcome Bill Vartnaw.
Hi.
I knew Diane. I tried to get to know her in the mid '80s when I was in New College, but I could never get into her class. I was always late, and it was always filled. Anyway, so I finally got to meet her through Jerry DiGiorno in the early 2000s, and I took several classes from her. I'm going to read a poem called Fire Sale, Everything Must Go. And that's one that Diane wrote around 2012, 2013. And I had the privilege of reading this poem for her because she was ill and couldn't read it, and she wanted to fulfill her obligation because she said she would read. And so I read for her. So this is Fire Sale, Everything Must Go. Well, we can't build the new society within the shell of the old. Though it seemed a good idea at the time, it's too late for that now. Sorry. I really am. I love those old wobbly songs. We can't just let the state disintegrate because seems it won't. Instead, it just keeps getting stronger, more solid. We turn back to those other long failed and failing systems. Marx must go, and Lenin with him, Trotsky too. Let's stop looking over our shoulders. No good copying Scandinavian socialism, though it works up to a point, but it's too sad. And besides, the race war, the class war, the skinheads and Nazis and teabag people will kill you before you try. Left wing, echo left wing, socio scarcity, anarcho unionists scare you somehow, blah blahs. We'll have to go too. You all talk too much and too long, are too divisive, and you forget we have to unite and not just build consensus, even if just to survive. This is the fire next time. It's here, and it's called oil in the Gulf, crack in the ocean floor, earthquake in Haiti, Chile, Kobe, Managua, Tibet. It's called hole in the ozone, islands underwater. It's called the recession is over while more and more of us are jobless, homeless, hungry, angry, cold. And the market recovers. And the stocks go up. This is the fire next time's fire sale, and everything must go. We can't fix it by figuring out what's wrong, like a car mechanic looking under the goddamn hood when the car is totaled. We can get through this by taking a good hard look at what's possible. Get it? We can get through this by taking a good hard look at what's possible. Get it? Not what's wrong, what's possible. Repeat after me. We need to look not at what's wrong, but what is possible. Not what's wrong with capitalism, communism, socialism, imperialism, syndicalism, unionism, you name it. But what is possible? What can be dreamed? What would your fantasy, your imagination say is possible? If reality were no obstacle, which it ain't, who would you be and what would you be doing? I don't know nothing, except that it starts right here. Don't know nothing, but every vision is holy. So who did you say you are? You too. And you? And you. That's Diane.
Thank you so much, Bill. Yeah, Bill, the resonances are important, present. Next, we have Kitty Costello, excuse me, who has for a long time been involved with Freedom Voices Press, the Tall Mountain Circle, and is one of my favorite reading voices in the Bay Area. Kitty.
Hello, everybody. So good to see all of you and to share in these reflections and memories and words of Diane. I'm going to focus on Diane as a teacher. I'm going to read some things that I wrote about her rather than things that she wrote. This first is an excerpt from a longer prose piece I'm working on about what I learned from Diane. I was just 23 when I started into a decade of study with Diane. That was about 1979 or 80. She wasn't teaching poetry then. She was teaching how to access the inner wellspring that poetry, creativity, and healing emerge from. The first class I took was called Structures of Magic and Techniques of Visioning. She delved us into the tarot, the Kabbalah, the I Ching, astrology, and more, delineating the inherent correspondences among these divination traditions. Any aspect of the living world could be divided up and hung on the tree of life: gemstones, planets, plants, body parts, herbs, archetypes, gods and goddesses from any culture. Her teaching installed a skeleton of reality inside my young mind and heart, where for the rest of my life I could hang anything I learned. She was all about bringing the ancient sacred human arts alive in the here and now among the living. That was the structures of magic part. Then if you wanted to know what a tarot card was all about, you didn't look it up in a book. No, you were led into a sort of trance state, diving into your own inner vision, your own doorway to the universal unconscious, where you could have your own conversation with the hermit, the priestess, the queen of swords, the fool. That was the techniques of visioning part. Poetry often came out of us after these inner journeys, but that wasn't the point. The point was learning to access the inner source. And why wasn't she teaching poetry then? As she put it, she never wanted to hear another "I cried for you on Sanchez Street" poem. She wanted to teach people how to go deep to the source. Diane was living exactly as the muse moved her, and she wanted all of us to free ourselves from any shoulds or conventions or limiting beliefs that might make us shoehorn ourselves into a life too small for us. Her living example exuded the question, what is worth doing while you're here? Don't miss it, don't forget, don't fall asleep. Imagine for yourself, you are capable of so much more than anyone ever led you to believe. Don't let this messed up society stop you from being who you really are. Don't deprive the world of the treasures you were meant to bring. And that was just the first class. There was so many other aspects that are not poetry, but they certainly are close cousins of poetry. Okay, so this is something I wrote 2 days after Diane died, and I'm reading it a lot because it's important to remember that Diane was a Tibetan Buddhist practitioner. There's an epigram at the beginning: write your own death poem, otherwise you're just being a voyeur. Diane di Prima. It's called Goodbye, Diane. Hello, Death. My pacing is relentless. My running off to get a drink of water, make a cup of tea, my washing of already clean hands, my urge to check whether Molly the cat is sunning in her usual afternoon sunspot, which she is. Oh yes, my death poem, at least one. And halfway to finding my journal, my mind drifts off again, thinking of Diane, gone 2 days now, wishing I knew the Poha path or practice better to pray her through the bardo, stopping just short of Googling it. Now getting busy thinking how big she was, how many directions she could zoom in or out to all at the same time. Physics, alchemy, botany, history is any piece you find out, she once said. Gems, bitter herbs, astronomy, astrology, out onto the front lines or inward to all worlds. How impatient she was with lack of clear intent, with willy-nilly will, with unaware harmings, the wake-up call gravitating from her core in every direction for miles, all with a jazz beat, a Brooklyn accent, a digger soul, so non-immortal, again calling down, get back to your own non-immortality. The piles of every accumulated thing alive with laughter all around me, snickering at predictable human disbelief. The photos that will never find their way to neat albums, the multiple one-time curricula that will never be retaught. What can I lug up into the light? Who stands beside me in this everyday non-tragedy of time's ruthless passing, this calamity of dying earth? How can she be traveling now through the bardo dreams, untangling hollow phantoms while still flooding this world with awakening, so nimble and clear from having left her body weight behind? You're not doing this quite right, she would tell me now, and as usual, she wouldn't be wrong. Illuminating more genuine depths, more worthwhile alchemy I could be wedding myself to. Her fierce discernment without blame, hitching those two in a way so rarely seen. Not a gentle shove, but a kind one, pushing me back to my own endings, into this fading light of this one knowable day, a clear fall afternoon slipping toward the skyline, my own plunge almost known, fathoming that I must listen now before the light fades, before my sun goes down. And the last piece, I was blessed to attend the last poetics class Diane ever taught. That was a 5-week class in 2018. So after she died, I looked back at all my notes and I gathered this found poem from the notes. I didn't know why I was scribbling them madly during the class, but this is why. Poetic Guidance from Diane di Prima, a found poem. In the morning when you're not quite you, ride that to other times and places. Overhear things. Trust a tiny piece of memory and keep going. Be completely on your own side. Write at the same time each day and your body will depend on it. Nothing is as important as writing in the time you set aside for writing. Kickstart. Make a collage, sharpen pencils, light a candle. What you do with your actual cells is more important than image. Image is more important than words. Organizing is as important as anything. Take a walk, look for clues, all senses. What happened on that very street in that very spot? Pick a color, see it everywhere you go. Window shop for a character you might want to wear. Ask about or to for any poem. Think of those you're writing for, not those who will be upset by what you write. Write the history only you know. Read, read, read. Read obituaries. Keep a notebook of title pages with no content. Let it come. Or pull down a book and grab a passage to start. See stuff between the lines on the page. Include present moment interruptions in your piece and look for coincidence. Hold the paradox. Study alchemy, biology, the society you're in. Don't understand it, don't believe it, but know it's true. Take the scary fork in the road. What is your poem's darkest secret, its biggest fear? Ask the I Ching, the tarot. Write what you must never write. Bored, hungry, can't sit there one more minute? You're probably onto something. Hold still through all your bad writing, through all your frightened, jealous critics. If there's something you're doing well, they'll pay you anything to stop doing it. Believe the news they never teach you. Things you hate are waiting to delight you if you take the time to learn them. When stuck, cut in dreams, cut in comic books. Write for all beings. Write your own death poem. For heaven's sake, don't believe your opinions. Accept the limits of your body. The requirements of our life is the shape of our art. Thank you. Okay, so I have the honor of introducing Sheppard. So Sheppard Powell was one of the first people I got to know when I moved to San Francisco in the late 70s. And I moved into the flat above him in the Castro. And that was before he and Diane became sweethearts. There was always like an album playing at Sheppard's every time you'd stop by, like Thelonious Monk or Lord Buckley or Lenny Bruce or Nina Simone. I was just getting this whole like download of all kinds of things that I hadn't ever known about before very much. Anyway, he was the person who told me you should go study with Diane, which changed my life for good, forever. What he wrote for his little bio for this event was this: Sheppard Powell is an artist and a teacher. He and Ms. di Prima were crazy in love for the last 42 years of the poet's life. Sheppard.
So am I up? Am I unmuted?
You're good.
Yes? Okay. In the last 7 years of Diane's life, she became deeply involved with the life and songs of Sappho. And Anne Carson came out with this fabulous translation, including some newly found parchment fragments. And most of the pages have a lot of space in them because it's fragments. It's very rare where you'd have a full page of type. Oh, and the other thing that's so beautiful about it is it's bilingual. It has the old Greek on the left-hand page and Anne's translation on the right. Diane ended up buying 10 copies of it because she kept filling them up with poems that these Sappho fragments took her to. And I'm going to read some. Though now I have no script for our language, nor can I reproduce its syntax. I have no words for the fruits we shared. And the wine had bubbles that burst blue black on my lips. You gave me a blue rose. Awake, I am holding it still. Call them love marks, Sappho, but it is hardly love. Ownership, perhaps. He wants to be sure neither you nor I forget who owns me. Thou restless, ungathered, the poet said, and I went to see for myself. No mention of mountain, no mountain wind, just our two hearts uprooted, his and hers. She loves youth, and on those she loves, she bestows it again and again. Like a whirlwind uprooting a large oak, so love tore up my heart. Mother, I hunger for you. Bring me to the feast. Awake beside my sweet lover, I wait the dawn. He has no use for the arts you taught me. Doesn't ask me to sing or dance. All day with my hair bound up, my hands burnt from the brazier. I serve his mother, his first wife, sleep on the ground. The restless beauty from which neither God nor man can turn. Quit staring into my eyes, luxurious woman. Who or what do you want? To Aphrodite, the golden. Once more in exile, in beautiful Syracusa, I watch my skin go from gold to bronze under Sicilian sun. Yet I am still your child, O golden one. Rain of yads and inner fire prepares once again to burst forth from core of the earth. Told you I'd see you again, and soon. Dear one, I sent you the heart of a dream. She replied with facts. I brush aside, looking instead to feast on sweet deception one more once. Diane, in case everybody doesn't know, left behind easily as much work as the volume of stuff that she published. She just couldn't take the time to stop, and she loved making books, but it's time consuming, and the stuff just kept coming through her. So, coming out for years to come. I found this one last night. I don't know what it's up. Your hot hands. Your hot hands must close this window between us. I have tried to gather you, but in the breeze, the pages drift. I wish my memories would crumble like your body. You are laughing inside me, knowing we know we know. I knew you were on the way when I dreamed of Noah's Ark, before they tore you out of me, making inside out, hot, cold. Are you still a photographer? Send me some prints, would you? So I may burn them and release myself and stalk your new ground like you stalked your old. After 20 years, the Christmas cactus died. Diane spent easily the second half of her life preparing for death. It's a big deal in the Buddhist world, but to her, it was also, the one journey we have in common. And she knew her passions for the things of this life were so strong. She was genuinely afraid she would be distracted at the time when she really needed to focus. So in the early 90s, she started writing death poems. There are thousands of them, many of them short, 3 to 5 lines in the kind of Japanese model, but others longer. Like this first one, a little longer, and it sort of just describes her dilemma. Travel poem for Sheppard. Leaving on a 10-day trip, I get back in bed for the warmth and to feel your body against mine. When the time comes, how will I ever leave this world at once and without looking back? Too late now to figure out what to give away and who to give it to. Just go now. The way out is through the door. Now leave. As long as I can see your eyes, I won't go willingly, no matter how many dakinis come to meet me. Can't imagine what magic word will loosen my grasp. Sure hope my teacher speaks it in my ear. What do you take me for? So many blackbirds throng the evening sky. Am I the one to fall to earth tonight? To death. Come back, why don't you? After the season of summer fruit. Easy to love silence after all this noise. It's raining. How far do you think I'll get in a nightgown and slippers? Maybe I am dying. I find myself saying, I love you to more and more people. Poem on the tip of my tongue as the world goes silent. Hand me my pen. My life may be over, but the poems haven't stopped. Thank you. And do I introduce Jenny Jo now?
Please. Thank you, Sheppard. Those were wonderful.
Do I introduce Jenny Jo now?
Please.
Yes. That was my 10-minute thing, so Jenny Jo came into our lives when she moved here from Hawaii and showed up at a teaching Diane was doing up in I think it was Mendocino. And from then on, until she had to move away because it became impossible to afford living around here, she studied with Diane, and she did everything. And Diane began to think of her as like one of her daughters of the arts. And I ran across this death poem. Too late now to pass on what I know to someone who already knows poetry is sacred. Jenny Jo.
Thank you, Sheppard. I studied with Diane and had the good luck to teach with her at the San Francisco Public Library while she was Poet Laureate and at 826 Valencia. So what an honor to be here tonight. She fiercely taught me I could be an artist as well as a mother, as difficult as that has been. And it wasn't the easy path, nor considered by most as a significant voice. So I decided to read some of her mother poems tonight, among other ones. So I will begin with Prayer to the Mothers. They say you lurk here still, perhaps in the depths of the earth or on some sacred mountain. They say you walk still among men, writing signs in the air, in the sand, warning, warning, weaving the crooked shape of our deliverance, anxious, not hasty, careful. You step among cups, step out of crystal, heal with the holy glow of your dark eyes. They say you unveil a green face in the jungle, wear blue in the snows, attend on births, dance on our dead, croon, fuck, embrace our weariness. You lurk here still, mutter in caves, warn, warn, and weave. Warp of our hope, link hands against the evil in the stars. Oh, rain, poison upon us, acid which eats clean, wake us like children from a nightmare. Give the slip to the devourers whom I cannot name, the metal men who walk on all our substance, crushing flesh to swamp. I'm going to humbly attempt rant. Rant. You cannot write a single line without a cosmology, a cosmogony laid out before all eyes. There is no part of yourself you can separate out, saying, this is memory, this is sensation, this is the work I care about, this is how I make a living. It is whole. It is a whole. It always was whole. You do not make it so. There is nothing to integrate. You are a presence. You are an appendage of the work. The work stems from, hangs from the heaven you create. Every man, every woman carries a firmament inside, and the stars in it are not the stars in the sky. Without imagination, there is no memory. Without imagination, there is no sensation. Without imagination, there is no will, no desire. History is a living weapon in your hand, and you have imagined it. It is thus that you find out for yourself. History is the dream of what can be. It is the relation between things in a continuum. of imagination, what you find out for yourself is what you select. Out of an infinite sea of possibility, no one can inhabit your world. Yet it is not lonely. The ground of imagination is fearlessness. Discourse is videotape of a movie, of a shadow play, but the puppets are in your hand. Your counters in a multidimensional chess, which is divination, strategy. The war that matters is the war against the imagination. All other wars are subsumed in it. The ultimate famine is the starvation of the imagination. It is death, to be sure. But the undead seek to inhabit someone else's world. The ultimate claustrophobia is the syllogism. The ultimate claustrophobia is, it all adds up. Nothing adds up and nothing stands in for anything else. The only war that matters is the war against the imagination. The only war that matters is the war against the imagination. The only war that matters is the war against the imagination. All other wars are subsumed in it. There is no way out of the spiritual battle. There is no way you can avoid taking sides. There is no way you cannot have a poetics, no matter what you do, plumber, baker, teacher. You do it in the consciousness of making or not making your world. You have a poetics. You step into the world like a suit of ready-made clothes, or you etch in light. Your firmament spills into the shape of your room, the shape of the poem, of your body, your loves. A woman's life, a man's life is an allegory. Dig it? There is no way out of the spiritual battle. The war is the war against the imagination. You can't sign up as a conscientious objector. The war of the world hangs here, right now, in the balance. It is a war for this world, to keep it a veil of soul making. The taste in all our mouths is the taste of our power, and it is bitter as death. Brings yourself home to yourself. Enter the garden. The guy at the gate with the flaming sword is yourself. The war is the war for the human imagination, and no one can fight it but you, and no one can fight it for you. The imagination is not only holy, it is precise. It is not only fierce, it is practical. Men die every day for the lack of it. It is vast and elegant. Intellectus means light of the mind. It is not discourse, it is not even language. The inner sun. The polis is constellated around the sun. The fire is central. And I'm almost out of time. So which to decide on? I'm going to read the poetry deal. Excuse me. The poetry deal. I want to say that I don't want anything but the whisper of your scarf as you do the dance of the 7 veils. Soft sound of your satin slippers on the carpet, and the raw, still bloody meat you toss my way that I chew on all night long. I don't want anything you don't already give me. Trips to other worlds, dimensions of light or sound, rides on the back of a leopard, on those black rocks, high over some sea or gorge. But it isn't true. I want all that. Sheet lightning of quasars that you dance between, those colors, yes, but I want you as mother, sister, stone walls of the cave I lie in trance for 7 days, the mist around my cabin, that makes it invisible. I want the flare and counterpoint of words, and I want the nonverbal, what never can be spoken as a foundation. I'd like my daily bread, however you arrange it, and I'd also like to be bread or sustenance for some others, even after I've left, a song they can walk a trail with. I don't think we talked about money or success or fame, whatever that is, for a long time. I hope you'd forgot that part. Now I'll do as you say about all that, whatever seems most useful. I'd like to keep learning how to brew bitter herbs and how to make them translucent, edible, almost crystalline. What I offered you wasn't much. You can always wake me, like my closest friend or most loved lover. You can burn my favorite snapshot of myself, lead me on paths or non-paths anywhere. You cannot make sense for years and I'll still believe you. Drop husbands, tribes, and jobs as you wish. You mostly aren't jealous, have taken your place alongside gardens, bread making, children, printing presses. But when your eyes shoot sparks and you say, choose between me and it has always gone, except when it was my kids. I took that risk and we worked it out somehow. Now I've come to a place where there are no kids, no tribe, no bread, no garden, only you and your two faces, formed and formless. Nothing to hold back now and nothing to offer. I stand before you, a piece of wind with a notebook and pen. Which one of us is it dances and which is the quasar? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny Jo.
So I was going to introduce Kimi next.
No,
No?
you aren't. I'm going to introduce Melissa Eleftherion Carr next, and then we'll go to this. It's a good moment to point out this reading has been afflicted with whimsical gremlins, which is probably appropriate. Melissa Eleftherion Carr is the Poet Laureate of the Tongo. She's a librarian. She was introduced to me by one of my very favorite people in the world, Linda Knowles. And if she forgives me for today, she will also be getting the award for Most Patient Human of 2021. Please welcome Melissa Eleftherion Carr.
Thank you so much, Kim. I'm honored to be here among all of you. I have admired so many of you from afar, and some of you I am very grateful to know in my life. And so waving to Jenny Jo. I'm really excited to be here, and obviously to honor Diane, who was such a force in my life, a pivotal force. And I imagine she was for each of you in your own rights. She touched so many of us in so many ways. The last time I saw Diane, she was teaching two nurses at the hospital about Eastern mysticism while practicing her physical therapy. To me, this feels like an acute snapshot of Diane, teaching, learning, giving, receiving, in balance. As her student, friend, and later her assistant, I had the great privilege of her presence, where I absorbed daily wisdoms in exchanges. We would be chatting while I worked organizing her tax stuff, as she called it. And suddenly we would be discussing various universal mysteries, like the day she revealed, it is all fluid, all of it. Diane generously gave so much of herself all of the time to poetics and to the universe of knowledge. To her, there seemed to be no distinction. It was all one big poem. This way of being in the world, this understanding was an opening for me and perhaps for others as well. The removal of time gushes from a line we will not follow. Say the word pattern, and I will dance footless on a mountain to blur the edges. Poem for Diane as Loba Lioness. I have returned to the wilderness's mouth, a lake and its golden hairs, the internal structures and cilia, my proud mane, its branches, magpie, a cloak of ivory, where canopy, where ground, each a protective cover of wild embrace. To each leaf rustle, a song. I have returned to the wind, rare as my wolf cry, my cells a radial divide, dispersed in a cast of grace and grit, among those leopard spotted hills. To call a chiamare radiata, to call and wilder still, a meadow, to call and begin to turn into. I have returned to the sea, to the mare and rasp, the conch and roar of it. I have returned to the maiden's wasp, the abalone hull of being held. Lioness of the rolling dirt hills, lioness of dust, protector of the bay, guardian of the sands, promise and time. I have returned to fire, that creative cauldron of energetics, living the metonymy of poems. I have returned to fire. I have returned to earth. I run with the mycelia, heart over hand. I run with bacilli. I run with limestone, over the outcrops and through the forest of loving. I am home. I started writing that piece for Diane last year when I heard she passed. And I wasn't sure I would read it, but I decided at the last minute to read that poem that I wrote for her. And here we are. I'm going to read a few poems from Time Bomb, which I had the pleasure of working on her, working alongside her on this book that she self-published. I'll read two poems from Time Bomb, and then I will attempt to read one poem from Revolutionary Letters if I have time. So Time Bomb, I should preface it by saying that if you haven't read this, it is a poem, a book-length poem that she wrote in one night from visions that occurred to her, that came to her, much like Loba, and very different from Loba, but visions nonetheless, and poems nonetheless that always kept coming. And this whole book was written in one night. Human hair laid alongside avocado in this final taco. I'm at a period in my own life where nothing works, she said. She was hanging onto a chimney in the wind, just thinking out loud. So hard to choose which poems to read of Diane's because there's just so many. We should have a marathon reading of Diane's work. I would love to do that if you all would like to join me. Whew. Revolutionary Letter number 68, Life Chant. May it come that all the radiances will be known as our own radiance. Tibetan Book of the Dead. Cacophony of small birds at dawn. May it continue. Sticky monkey flowers on bare brown hills. May it continue. Bitter taste of early miner's lettuce. May it continue. Music on city streets in the summer nights. May it continue. Kids laughing on roofs, on stoops, on the beach, in the snow. May it continue. Triumphal shout of the newborn. May it continue. Deep silence of great rainforests. May it continue. Fine austerity of jungle peoples. May it continue. Rolling fuck of great whales in turquoise ocean. May it continue. Clumsy splash of pelican in smooth bays. May it continue. Astonished human eyeballs squinting through eons at astonished nebula who squint back. May it continue. Clean snow on the mountain. May it continue. Fierce eyes, clear light of the aged. May it continue. Rite of birth and of naming. May it continue. Rite of instruction. May it continue. Rite of passage. May it continue. Love in the morning, love in the noon sun, love in the evening among crickets. May it continue. Long tales by fire, by window, in fog, in dusk on the mesa. May it continue. Love in thick midnight, fierce joy of old ones loving. May it continue. The night music. May it continue. Grunt of mating hippo, giraffe, foreplay of snow leopard, screeching of cats on the backyard fence. May it continue. Without police, may it continue. Without prisons, may it continue. Without hospitals, death medicine, flu and flu vaccine, may it continue. Without madhouses, marriage, high schools that are prisons, may it continue. Without empire, may it continue. In sisterhood, may it continue. Through the wars to come, may it continue. In brotherhood, may it continue. Though the earth seem lost, may it continue. Through exile and silence, may it continue. With cunning and love, may it continue. As woman continues, may it continue. As breath continues, may it continue. As stars continue, may it continue. May the wind deal kindly with us. May the fire remember our names. May springs flow, rain fall again. May the land grow green. May it swallow our mistakes. We begin the work. May it continue. The great transmutation. May it continue. A new heaven and a new earth. May it continue. May it continue. Thank you.
Okay, Katie.
So I have the pleasure of introducing Kimi Sugioka, who I have known for like over 40 years now. Kimi and I think it was the first like little intimate writing group where we brought our poems and gave each other feedback, like back in 1980 or something. We were doing that, and we were practicing martial arts together. And Kimi, you can't help but give one of those glowing introductions because well, she's not just a poet, she's also amazing singer-songwriter and guitarist. She is the Poet Laureate of Alameda. She's a graduate of the Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics at Naropa, which is just really fun to have a reason to say that out loud. She, bless her heart, taught special ed for decades in the East Bay and was a union activist throughout all that, all while she was raising her beautiful son, Kai. So Kimi Sugioka.
Wow, thank you. Thank you, Kitty. Yeah, it's amazing to think of all the years that have passed. Now honored I am to know you, Kitty, and Diane, and so happy to see Shep's face after all these years. It has been a very long time since I've seen Diane in person. Fortunately, we used to have dreams about each other just from time to time. And I would hear what she dreamed. I'll hear a little more about that later, but I wanted to read this paragraph from Recollections of My Life as a Woman. She wrote it after, this is after a friend of hers, Peter, had died. What I saw then was this fairly obvious faculty of art, that it goes on. It lasts a bit longer than our frail human lives. It offers comfort. The vision is more enduring than our persons. It uplifts us past the vicissitudes of time, uplifts till it too is done or forgotten. 10 years, 500 years. It is the working of our loving hearts, burrowing out of us into the light of day. Like bodhisattvas, we bring this liberation, this solace to each other when we are simply ambitious, working for fame, as Keats once thought he was doing, working for money or glory. What we are left with is finally what we leave, this reaching out to touch, to comfort others, to make the world bearable, possible at all. And I just thought that was really beautiful. And I wanted to read one of the Lopa poems, a short one. This book, as well as Diane, had a very strong influence on me as a poet and a human being. This one is called The Rooses, a Coyote Tale. Sometimes you take up the trap and run with the metal between your teeth. At times, it is better to chew off your leg. You have, in this case, to consider the trail of blood. Sometimes for weeks, it is better not to eat. The meat is poisoned, but you wait it out, knowing the creatures are not consistent. They forget. Or they will move on. It is hard to explain this to cubs. You keep downwind, stick to the water, journey in thick mist or at the dark of the moon. There come the safe times when we congregate in the snow under large barren trees, and each of us is a flame, an offering to the moon. At such times, it is unnecessary to sing. I love that. The most vivid dream I had of Diane was one where she was a river goddess. She was sitting on a great rock in a river, and she had vials of color, which she was methodically pouring into the water. I knew that these colors would eventually reach the sea, and I was greatly comforted by this. So I'm going to read one section of a long poem that was inspired by Diane, and You might hear her vaguely referred to. This poem is called Ceremony. Beneath a luminously ticking sky, I wonder at the minute focus of humans and dogs. Mädchen, Fräulein, Frau, Niña, Señorita, Señora. Echo of stones dropped in my pelvis like ripe figs, scattering fragments of passion gone fallow in this field of breath. The moon struck 12 and down she ran, sucking the wind from virgin forests and untainted sands, 1,000 footprints dancing between her thighs. A naked monarch with tattered wings. Driven by drift and blight, the mark just here at the neck and throat. Note the knives, the wounds, the codfish belly, breast of snow goose, fallen under rod and gun. Downy, unbidden, formulaic. We are at once hunter and prey, softly slayed, filleted, and rendered taut and still. Alongside the broken arrow, resting sword, unraveled basket, a torn womb, a bitter lining, a bleak narcissus, a bitten bloom, a rattler skin. The fragrance of soot, color of sand, taste of ash and honey, texture of sun-melted asphalt, sound of wavelets lapping. I was unguent unto myself, Leben und Arbeiten, Kasse y Comer, Chanson et Théâtre, and mother to some 500 lost boys. In the dew of starlight, a snickering angel in the mouth of devotion. Attempted to be healer, prayer, savior. Bless me, Orion, let me feel joy. In a pebbled brightness, smoothed as sea-washed agates, blinded by beauty, serrated, unwound. Moved with and by feathers, wings, the usual things, a boy who cries over a lost matchbox car, a solitary star over San Francisco, girls fussing over and kissing mutant frogs. You might find me at daybreak, slurred with sleep, damp with longing, or unbending stiff bones before a fire of buffalo chip and microwave. You might find me at twilight, undaunted but wilting with grief over senselessly slain beasts. You might break in at midnight, a warrior, a lover, a sleepless mockingbird. You might spin my poems into silk. I the worm, I the crow, the doormat, the sleepy child, the wind chime, the hopeless angel, the fierce mother, steeped in tuberose, oil of myrrh, incest of sky, music of the Shinto goddess Benten. Bent, stuck, withered, caught in the fibers of decades without ambition or glory, but seeking sumptuous, perpetual virginity. I of crater and musk am dyeing the river's crimson, mother of 10,000 things under one roof. Amaranth, whiskey, the sound of light, the color of odor, unbidden elements reframed the text. Must have been the texture of your hair filled with sun, sand, and salt. O ocean, would that you could drown our sins, our one sinister synapse, so we might return as a heliotropic owl or lunar flower. Rapture, raptor, the bone-crushing joy of praying mantis, falcon, condor, hawk. Traverse this fallen angel's path, this false angle, this gaunt epiphany. We come here full and spill ourselves out. So, thank you. There is so much more I could say. Yeah, let's have that marathon Diane reading. And bless you to all of you. Thank you for letting me be here.
Kimi, there was no other way. Yes, absolutely. I'm on team marathon reading also. What a great idea. Tongo Eisen-Martin is for me both a friend and family. There are those people in your lives you're completely convinced that if there was a really bad situation, you could call them and they'd show up. And I feel that way about him. I hope he feels that way about me. I'd lay down in traffic for this man. He's also the current Poet Laureate in San Francisco, Tongo Eisen-Martin.
Revolutionary letter number 9. Advocating the overthrow of government is a crime. Overthrowing it is something else altogether. It is sometimes called revolution, but don't kid yourself. Government is not where it's at. It's only a good place to start. Number 1, kill head of Dow Chemical. 2, destroyed plant. 3, make it unprofitable for them to build again, i.e. destroy the concept of money as we know it. Get rid of interest, savings, inheritance, pounds money as dated coupons that come in the mail to everyone and are void in 30 days is still a good idea. Or let's start with no money at all and invent it if we need it, or mimeograph it, and everyone print as much as they want and see what happens. Declare a moratorium on debt, the Continental Congress did, on all debts public and private, and no one owns the land. It can be held for use. No man holding more than he can work, himself and family working. Let no one work for another except for love. And what you make above the needs be given to the tribe of commonwealth. None of us knows the answers. Think about these things. The days will come when we have to know the answers. Revolutionary letter number 23. A lack of faith is simply a lack of courage. One who says, I wish I could believe that, means simply that he is coward, is pleased to be spectator on this scene where there are no spectators, where all hands not actually working are working against as they lie idle, folded in lap or holding up newspapers full of lies or wrapped around steering wheels on one more pleasure trip. Revolutionary letter number 29. Beware of those who say we are beautiful losers, who stand in their long hair and wait to be punished, who weep on beaches for our isolation. We are not alone. We have brothers in all the hills. We have sisters in the jungles and in the Ozarks. We have brothers on the frozen tundra. They sit by their fires. They sing. They gather arms. They multiply. They will reclaim the earth. Nowhere we can go, but they are waiting for us. Nowhere we can go, but they are waiting for us. No exile where we will not hear welcome home. Good morning, sister. Let me work with you. Good morning, brother. Let me fight by your side. Revolutionary letter number 40. If the power of the word is anything, America, your oil fields burning, your cities in ruins, smoldering, pillaged by children, your cars broken down at a standstill, choking the roads, your citizens standing beside them, bewildered or choosing a pack load of objects, what they can carry away. If the power of the word lives, America, your power lines down, eagle line, lines of electric, of telephone towers, of radio transmission toppled and rankling in the field, setting the hay ablaze, your newspapers useless, your populace illiterate, wiping their asses with them. If the word has power, you shall not stand, America. The wilderness is spreading from the parks you have fenced it into. Already desert blows through Las Vegas. The sea licks its chops at the oily edges of Los Angeles. The camels are breeding, the bears, the elk are increasing. So are the Indians, and the very poor do stir in your sleep, America. Do you dream of your power, pastel-colored oil tanks from sea to shining sea? Sleep well, America. We stand by your bedside. The word has power. The chant is going up. Revolutionary letter number 49. Free Julian Black, free Timothy Leary, free 7 million starving in Pakistan, free all political prisoners, free Angela Davis, free Soledad Brothers, free Martin Sobel, free Sacco and Vicente, free Big Bill Hayward, free Sitting Bull, free Crazy Horse, free all political prisoners, free Billy the Kid, free Jesse James, free all political prisoners, free Nathan Hale, free Jonah Art, free Galileo and Bruno and Eckhart, free Jesus Christ, free Socrates, free all political prisoners, free all political prisoners. All prisoners are political prisoners. Every pot smoker a political prisoner. Every hold-up man a political prisoner. Every forger a political prisoner. Every angry kid who smashed a window a political prisoner. Every whore, pimp, murderer a political prisoner. Every pederast, dealer, drunk driver, burglar, poacher, striker, strike breaker, rapist, polar bear in San Francisco Zoo, political prisoner. Ancient wise turtle at Detroit Aquarium, political prisoner. Flamingos dying in Phoenix Tourist Park, political prisoners. Otters in Tucson Desert Museum, political prisoners. Elk in Wyoming grazing behind barbed wire, political prisoners. Prairie dogs poisoned in New Mexico, war casualties, mass grave of Wyoming, bald eagles, a battlefield, every kid in school, a political prisoner. Every lawyer in his cubicle, a political prisoner. Every doctor brainwashed by AMA, a political prisoner. Every housewife, a political prisoner. Every teacher lying through sad teeth, a political prisoner. Every Indian on reservation, a political prisoner. Every black man, a political prisoner. Every faggot hiding in a bar, a political prisoner. Every junkie shooting up in a John, a political prisoner. Every woman, a political prisoner. Every woman, a political prisoner. You are a political prisoner locked in tense body. You are a political prisoner locked in stiff mind. You are a political prisoner locked in your parents. You are a political prisoner locked to your past. Free yourself. Free yourself. I'm a political prisoner locked in anger habit. I'm a political prisoner locked in greed habit. I'm a political prisoner locked in fear habit. I'm a political prisoner locked in dull senses. I'm a political prisoner locked in numb flesh. Free me. Free me. Help to free me. Free yourself. Help to free me. Free Barry Goldwater. Help to free me. Free Governor Wallace, free President Nixon, free J. Edgar Hoover, free them, free yourself, free them, free yourself, free yourself, free them, free yourself, help to free me, free us. Dance.
Wow. Next, we have Devorah Major, who has been my boss on occasion, my mentor, and has mentored a lot of other people. So much I could say about Devorah. I'm just gonna say she is the third Poet Laureate of San Francisco Emerita and a phenomenal human. Wonderful.
Oh. Well, originally I was going to do rant because I just, actually, one of the last conversations I remember having with Diane was at the birthday party that was held for her in North Beach a few years ago at, I believe, the Live Worms Gallery. And she was giving out a poem, which I couldn't put my fingers on it today. And I said, I just love your rant. I'm always telling my classes the only war that matters is the war against the imagination. We had a brief laugh over that. Anyway, although it's worth hearing twice, I quickly ran down 2 other poems, small poems of hers, and quote, I am a shadow, end quote. I am a shadow crossing ice. I am rusting knife in the water. I am pear tree bitten by frost. I uphold the mountain with my hand. My feet are cut by glass. I walk in the windy forest after dark. I am wrapped in a gold cloud. I whistle through my teeth. I lose my hat. My eyes are fed to eagles and my jaw is locked with silver wire. I have burned often, and my bones are soup. I am stone giant statue on a cliff. I am mad as a blizzard. I stare out of broken cupboards. And also, I thought that the Buddhist New Year song, and it's so near the New Year, it was not that far when she crossed over last year from it. Buddhist New Year song. I saw you in green velvet, wide full sleeves, seated in front of a fireplace, our house made somehow more gracious, and you said, "There are stars in your hair." It was truth I brought down with me to this sullen and dingy place that we must make golden, make precious and mythical. Somehow it is our nature, and it is truth that we came here. I told you from other planets where we were lords. We were sent here for some purpose. The golden mask I had seen before that fitted so beautifully over your face did not return, nor did the face of a bull you had acquired amid northern peoples, nomads, the Gobi Desert. I did not see those tents again, nor the wagons infinitely slow on the infinitely windy plains. So cold, every star in the sky was a different color, the sky itself a tangled tapestry glowing, but almost. I could see the planet from which we had come. I could not remember then what our purpose was, but remembering the name of Mahakala in the dawn confronted Shiva. The cold light revealed the mind-born worlds as simply that. I watched them propagated, flowing out, or more simply, one mirror reflecting another, then broke the mirrors. You were no longer in sight, nor any purpose. Stared at this new blackness, the mind-born world fled, and the mind turned off. A madness or a beginning? And I'm going to read this very short poem. One of the things I saw Diane, as always, was a woman of resistance throughout her seeking a certain kind of detachment throughout her seeking the Buddhist sensibilities. And before that, she was consistent in her politics, consistently growing in her spirit. Resistance, woman. When you count the fallen, that one woman will not have fallen. When you count those who quietly accepted prisons of tears and madness, when you take the time to count those who did not see the use for struggle and those who could not find the time, when you find the withered who lost the dream, the bent saplings who never found one, when you look for complacency, she will not be in their numbers. She refused to throw up her hands and wring them in despair. In the face of odds that called her dreams a long shot, she played to win, saw time as a road and traveled it hard, refused to be an unlisted casualty of war, refused to forget, refused to be subdued, to find revolution in armchair profession or summertime fad. When you count, you will see that this one unmiracle maker is going to be a part of the dream when it happens. She refuses genocide, will be a spirit catcher, will struggle for the dream when the body fails, when the heart stops. When you count the fallen, she will not be in their numbers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Devorah. I'm going to finish this off with one small piece from Roba, which felt appropriate. Inviting at your leash, and plotting a way out of your cage, small Lilith, tunneling underground, climbing over the walls, fasting, plotting, turning a deaf ear to the tunes you put me to sleep with. The earwoman, Olympia, Augusta, Eleanor of Aquitaine, I ain't. I got your barb in my flesh, but I'll take it with me to somewhere else. Thank you all for being here for the celebration of Diane. We'll talk about it, but I think there needs to be some kind of annual thing in my page. And I think I could probably find a few of you to participate with me. Thank you to everybody who's attended. Thank you to John Smalley, the library. As always, it's an incredible privilege to read in Ohlone territory, Ramaytush territory, and in my case, in the Rami. Thank you all. Keep taking off the scales. We got work to do.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, everybody.
Happy holidays and come back second Thursday of January, the 13th.
Yeah, we've got a really powerful women meeting on the 13th. So thank you.
Take care. Have a good night.
Big hugs to all.